All right, welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis, and you are tuned in to a segment that's kind of an offshoot of my mix show. My mix show is called After the Smoke is Clear. I try to play independent music from across Canada, coast to coast. And, you know, for the third season of it, I just thought I need to tap in more. I want to help artists really get the spotlight on their scene. Send, you know, kind of fans back and forth from across Canada, because I feel like there could be more support city to city across the country. I think a lot of people kind of have found pockets of support that show a lot of love, but you know, I feel like the national scene could be a little bit more cohesive. So I started doing these interviews. I call them Fly in Formation, and today I'm happy to have DJ Moves with me. Strangely enough, this is the first time that Moves and I have actually talked, I think face to face like this. Like I think, what was it, 2019, I bought 10 beats off of you and put a little project together, but other than texting back and forth and sending files and stuff, I don't think we ever got a chance to actually chop it up. So you know, I was looking forward to talking today, man. You got a new project, Pam Greers Kids. I got a chance to dig into that over the weekend. I'll let you tell it though. Do you want to give us kind of a pitch on what that album sounds like and what people can expect from that?
It's more of the same of the stuff that I've been doing the last like 4 or 5 years. Lots of darker hip hop beats. Not, I wouldn't say slow, I wouldn't say fast, but mid tempo. Lots of samples I got from movies. I've been sampling for the last 5 years, just every video cassette I had or find. Listen and watch the whole movie, and if you hear some sounds of it, sample it right down and put it away for later use. And pretty much every song is different people on it. I'm gonna do this is Pam Greers Kids. This is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that.
The CD's pressed already and everything. Beautiful.
CDs and tapes at blackbuffalorecords.ca.
Right on.
And, it's the one it's going to be a trilogy. The next one's going to be called Pam Greers Kids 2, The Step Kids. And then the third one's going to be Pam Greers Grandkids. So we're just gonna get pictures of her as she gets older, because she's obviously young in the first one.
That's dope. She aged so gracefully that sounds like a good concept, man. For people who don't know, you know, Pam Greer is a famous actress who kind of came up in like blaxploitation films and in the maybe 70s, I feel like.
Yeah, 70s for sure.
Yeah. So why Pam Greer? Why are you choosing to name these after
her? Just, you know, ever since I probably first seen her when I was a kid on the movie. My father would always rent karate movies and like weird gonzo movies and stuff like that when I was a kid, when VCRs first came out. That's how old I am, for fuck's sakes. But I always thought that she was mega beautiful. So every time me and C would still watch movies with the old movies now, or even movies with her now these days, and be like, she's still beautiful. So we got to put her on an album cover. And I was like, yeah, the fucking name of the album could be Pam Greers Kids, and that's all the people that are rapping and shit.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, people who are influenced by her presence throughout the years. That makes sense, dude. So I also, like, listening to this, heard a lot of horror elements kind of sampled in there. You must be a pretty big fan of the horror genre.
Yeah, for sure. I also, in the last, like about a year ago, a kid started working at me at my day job, working for the water and sewer department here in Truro, Nova Scotia. And he said that his uncle died, and his uncle owned a video store in a small town back in the day, and he had all the videos in his garage, and if I wanted them I could take them. And I was like, how many videos are we talking about? He's like, you know, a couple hundred. So I went up to this way out in the woods and went into this room in the guy's house, and there was something like 8,000 VHS.
Wow.
And and when I drove back home, he couldn't even fit any more in my car, the whole car except for me. So I got rid of probably like 15 garbage bags full, and then kept whichever ones I thought I hadn't seen before. And just I've been since then, like last year, I've been watching like 2 or 3 movies a day.
Is that cassettes
sampling.
behind you on those shelves? Is that VHS I'm looking at back there?
No, it's cassettes.
Like cassettes, yeah. So
I got, instead of when I bought this house here too, I said I'm not gonna like use paint or any type of wallpaper. I'm just gonna get Napa Valley units and buy enough tapes that it's all through the whole house.
Beautiful. Yeah, so that's something I ask a lot of artists is like, do you buy music? I mean, you just answered it yourself. Talk a little bit though about, because to a lot of people in 2022, I feel like music is something that you consume for free. It's something that, you know, they're used to getting into a car or hearing it while they're at work or whatever, but it all comes to them free, or they stream it on their headphones. But a lot of people have gotten out of the habit of buying music. So I always try to drill it into people's heads that like, hey, we support all other types of art. We all support visual art, and, you know, buy that stuff. We buy people's beading, and we buy people's crafting, and, you know, what about music? How come everybody's used to not paying for music? So
I don't really understand why they don't, because that's really the cheapest medium too of art.
Totally.
You know, you could buy somebody that's not even well known at all's little picture they drew for like $400.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you're supporting them 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, to buy any type of music that if I hear something that I like, then I'm gonna buy it 100%.
Hell yeah.
Especially physical format, right?
Sorry, did you say only in physical formats, or?
No, especially if it is. But I've been if it's not in physical format and I really like it, I will buy it off iTunes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, or I mean, like Bandcamp. That's what I always tell people gets most money into artists' pockets if they've got a Bandcamp, and you can go support them independently over there. But for sure, buying physical or buying merch is the way to do it. So get to that right off the top. Another thing you mentioned there was that you work, what did you say, water and sewer or something like that? I've seen on your IG stories. I guessed you were like a crane operator, some sort of machinery operator, just from your garb and whatever. I'd never heard you actually talk specifically about what you did, but can you talk a bit about kind of the work to art balance? Like, because of all the people I can really think of, like, you might be the epitome, or one of the people I would name as the epitome of like what a career in Canadian hip hop might look like. And you know, you're openly, you hold down a different job or whatever. Have you ever had a point where you thought that there would be enough money for music to only rely on music, or has there ever been a point where it was enough to rely on just music?
It was really close when I was in the group Len and we were up in platinum in Canada, but it was still, I still only got like $2,000 a month, which is still less than what I get paid from just my job working for the sewer company. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was my hope at the time, but that experience just right there led me to know that wasn't gonna really happen unless I was a solo artist and got all the money myself.
Right.
But I'm not. I don't do any type of vocals really. So.
Yeah, and I mean that's going platinum with Len or whatever. Yeah, dude. So I always tell artists, like, if you can get a blue collar job, if you can find a job that allows you the flexibility to make music, that's the ticket. You know, like.
Yeah.
If you can find a boss who will let you get days off to go do gigs or whatever, that's what you need, right? Find that type of job and hold on to it. But what would you suggest for artists?
I got really lucky because the job I got is a unionized job.
Oh, word.
So you don't have to work overtime. You don't have to stay late. You don't have to do all these things, right? And if I had something else to do, if I had a show, if I had to go home and make a beat for someone because they paid me the night before, I don't have to stay, you know?
Yeah, dude. I think a lot of people maybe kind of overlook how. Well, I don't know. Unions are very much this like community-driven thing that goes hand in hand, I think, with a lot of musicians. Like talking to Mickey O'Brien, I don't know if you know him, but he said the same thing about his union, that it had afforded him a lot of leisures and, you know, a lot of ability to make music as a result of it or whatever. So
just to have that little bit of extra time, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Dude, you make a ton of music though too, so like I want to give props where it's due. Like you're steady working. I've been doing After the Smoke is Cleared now for this is the 3rd year I'm doing it, and like I think in that time you probably have like 7, 8, 9 albums. Like I don't know, I remember first I think I found you and someone had done an album, and that might have been the first stuff by you that I was playing, or maybe it was some stuff Touch had done with you a little bit before that, but one way or the other, man, like you've now done albums with like Lavender, Fat Matt, Touch. That 1984 album just came out. You had the Drunken Arseholes album with C. You've done this collaboration one or with a bunch of different MCs featured on it for Pam Greers Kids. Like, how do you stay so busy? Do you ever do anything other than make music, man?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I do. I just, I guess I budget my time pretty good.
Hell yeah.
I have a woman. I go to her all of her. Hi, Sunshine. That's her name, Sunshine. And I go to most of her son's sports games and stuff like that with her, and travel around, and we go thrifting a lot because she likes to do the same type of shit I do. But I also, when I come home from work, I usually try to like at least turn the sampler on a bit and start to make something, or add on to something I made the night before, so that it just keeps on going and going and going. Right. Like I never had a problem with having enough beats. The problem's always getting enough people to rap on.
Well, hey, I could probably point some MCs in your direction, and that's exactly what I hope to be doing with this show. Is, I mean, it's half so that people who might be fans of the music can tune in and learn more, but honestly, my intention for this whole show has kind of been to make a show that like other actual hip-hop heads like, and a lot of the hip-hop heads tend to be people who make hip-hop these days, because the gate is wide open. So like you do sell beats, definitely. Right? You sell beats to randos. I said, didn't know you and made an album out of just your beats. So like maybe talk a little bit about that, because I think some producers have different opinions on that, and even guys I've talked to just in the 15 or so interviews I've done here have said a few different things about like, well, I only like to work with people who are exclusively in the camp, or people who I know personally, or that kind of thing. Like, are you really open to just anybody buys that shit, it's good to go?
Yeah, definitely. I'd give everybody a chance. If you come back with something that really I didn't think was very good, I really wouldn't want to keep on going if I felt that way, because I'd be doing myself and you a disservice at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I think everybody definitely, if you're into it and you love it, then why not try it out, right? How I don't want to be like an exclusive to like just I have a whole bunch of people that I do stuff with all the time still, but at the same time, I like to, the way you get your name out there is with different people, so that their friends and their friends and their friends and their friends get to hear it too, right? And then you get a whole bunch of people asking, who the hell's that guy?
Yeah, I remember just kind of messaging you being like, so you're cool with me sending this to Spotify as like Doobyis and Moves, and it'll link right over to your Spotify, and you were like, yeah man, that's why I'm doing this, to get more,
definitely
more music in more people's ears. So I appreciate that a ton, man, because likewise it works in both directions. People who are checking for me now, they know who you are, and maybe vice versa. So
100%.
Yeah, dude. And to me, I think like that's how the scene can work best, like if it has that community where at least the people who respect each other's art can pull together and spread the word together, do shows together when it's time to tour, and actually have openers who they know and like in each different city, rather than whoever paid X amount of dollars to open or could sell the tickets or whatever, right? Like, and not being embarrassed by the guys that are opening when you go on tour.
Exactly. That's terrible, actually.
Yeah.
That hurts my heart.
Right. So, I like to tell people, like, if you're ever looking to book stuff out in Alberta, I mean, you personally, I'm sure have plenty of connections between, Touch and the Dirty Sample and all the other people you've probably collaborated with here in Alberta. But I think it's always a two-way street, and it's good to learn more about each different scene. So that's why I really wanted to start doing this. On that note, though, you said you're in Truro, Nova Scotia? Yep. Okay, so yep. Until I read that in your Spotify bio, I had never actually heard of Truro, Nova Scotia. I've never been to the East Coast. I've been out to New York, but never the East Coast of Canada. But can you talk a bit about what the scene out there is like, or maybe is it easier to talk about the Halifax scene? I don't know. What does Truro have its own scene?
No, there's only one or two rappers, and one of them is a guy named Epic, spelled with a K, to distinguish between the Alberta or Saskatoon Epic, I guess.
Saskatoon Folk Rap Records Epic, yeah. Shouts to him as well.
I got an album with him too that came out last year. It's pretty dope. It's called Hubtown Area.
With Epic with a K?
Yeah.
Okay, dope.
It's pretty dope. It's only on CD. I got it for sale myself. It's not on any label or anything.
Okay. You think I could get you to send me like an MP3 or something of, I mean, not if you don't want to send the whole thing, but just so I can play it on After the Smoke is Clear?
The whole thing, yeah.
Oh, dope, man. Yeah.
Cool. Whatever you need, I'll send you.
Hell yeah, appreciate that, man.
There's no scene in Truro, so I go back and forth to Halifax all the time. It's about a 45-minute drive.
Okay, so as an outside observer who's just been trying to soak up as much independent hip-hop from across the country as possible, a lot of what I hear from Halifax, in fact, pretty much everybody except maybe two artists that I could name from Halifax are associated with Black Buffalo Records. Is the Halifax scene as cohesive as it looks to me? Because some scenes you end up having, I don't know, they get real kind of segmented and people have beefs and egos get in the way and all this, but from where I'm sitting, it looks like you guys are all collaborating together and kind of doing the same shows here and there. What's your take on the Halifax scene?
Well, there's like two or three different scenes. Like the Black Buffalo Records and all those people are kind of one scene, which I'd be involved with that. And then the upper echelon of dudes would be like Classified and his crew of dudes like Gabe Rue and 5 or 6 other guys with
Quake
them.
Matthews,
and
maybe, I guess.
Quake,
he reps
yeah,
Halifax.
Yeah, definitely Quake, and Spesh K is still involved with those guys somewhat, I think, even though he's in Toronto now.
Yeah.
But and then there's there's tons of newer kids coming out too. They have their own scene too. It's like more electronic dance rap with like thug lyrics. I don't know. It's not. I'm not really into that too much, but to each his own at the same time, right?
More trapper drill kind of influenced, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's probably 3 different types of hip hop going through there. The more I wouldn't say poppy hip hop, because it's if it was mega poppy, you'd hear way more of it.
Right.
What I'm trying to say.
Most of the stuff that I'm kind of gravitating towards is that the boom bap sound that Black Buffalo kind of seems to specialize in. Well, I guess you're not the first guy. I talked to B Ravenous too about Black Buffalo a little bit, but I kind of have read a little bit about it. Like it's a record shop as well as a label, or like how exactly is it working as a collective? It's based out of a record store, correct?
No, it kind of it started as a record store.
Okay.
And as soon as the record store stopped being a thing, he moved it into like a label.
Took it online. Okay.
And me and Joe Run used to play at the record store all the time, so that's how we knew Kevin Beals, who was the owner, and his lady Camood. they would ask me and Joe Run to play there all the time on weekends or something, spin 45s or vinyl, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And then when he decided to close that down, him and Joe, he released all of Joe Run's first 45s for whatever, probably 5 years or something. And then when him and Joe kind of split ways there, he decided just to branch out to start releasing other people's music, and he started with the local Halifax people, and he's since been branching out to people from LA, and he's releasing Chill Rob G's next album.
Nice.
He's releasing
so they're pressing records. He's got a record press, I take it, hey? Because everybody who's coming out on Black Buffalo seems to have that vinyl on the Black Buffalo website.
Yeah, they were. And now it's harder to get vinyl now. So that's why the Pam Greers Kids was initially supposed to be on blue vinyl, but it's like a year's wait, and I just didn't want to wait.
Yeah.
So CD and tape's fine, I guess, right?
Sure. And is Pam Greers Kids out digital too, or?
Yeah, it's out digital too.
Right on.
It's on my Bandcamp, and it's on blackbuffalorecords.ca.
Sure. So
either of them there.
You're also like in charge of your own label, Low Pressure, right?
Yep.
So how does that operate in comparison to Black Buffalo, or in collaboration with Black Buffalo? Like, does Pam Greers Kids have both of those logos on the back of it?
Yeah, it'll have both logos. Just because that's my thing is that label, so it's pretty much distributed and marketed by Black Buffalo Records.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys, you did the Pressure Posse album with Tachichi too there a year or two ago. with
Solo.
Okay, that was through Han Solo. All right, so you're all over in the Canadian hip hop scene.
Anybody who wants to put something out, like I said, I got tons of beats.
Hell yeah. So since I do like to ask people about their local scenes, first I want to ask, can you give a shout out to maybe one or two Halifax artists who you think maybe I might not know, maybe they haven't released something on Black Buffalo yet, or whatever. You mentioned Joe Run, I think, there, and that isn't a name that I recognize, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Check him.
Joe Run was one of my peers, and who I learned most of the stuff from when I first started with Hip Hop Group back in the day. He's like a record guy. He has every record you can think of. He's awesome DJ. He's a producer. He pretty much showed me how to start producing back in the day in Halifax, and was one of the first dudes to make sample-based music, I think, that wasn't New Jack Swing back in the day, right, from Halifax.
Dope, man. I guess, like, can you I know you've lived in a bunch of different cities across, like, I read on your bio you've lived in Toronto, as well as when I was talking to the Dirty Sample, he mentioned, like, being at one of your pads just off of East Hastings in Vancouver, and he was joking about how, like, you know, it might not have been the best kept place in the world or whatever. It was a party house, but how there was a gold plaque for the Len record up on the wall. That's what we had a laugh about that, man. That's dope. Legendary shit. But I wanted you to just kind of talk. You're probably in a pretty unique position. Which of the scenes did you enjoy most, or would you say had the strongest hip hop scene? Or I don't know, not even to rank them like that, but maybe just contrast the differences between living in Vancouver making hip hop, living in Toronto making hip hop, and living like near Halifax making hip hop, because I feel like those are kind of the main hubs. Personally, I'd like to throw Edmonton in that mix, but you know.
Yep, yeah, definitely. I'd say that Vancouver was the most closely knit one where I lived anyway. A lot of people played shows with a lot of other people all the time, and it was cool. There was like 2 or 3 rap nights a week.
Hey, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was enough people coming to them usually that it could sustain itself.
That's beautiful, man. When I ask people this question, I always ask them, like, are there hip hop nights in your city? And they kind of like well, like these big name artists come through and people get to open for them, and I'm like, nah, that's not really what I'm talking about. I mean, like ciphers where MCs and break dancers and everybody can come, and the culture's really alive and flourishing. So like, yeah,
Yeah,
Vancouver had that happening.
yeah. Well, I only lived in Toronto for like probably 2 years at the most, and there was a lot of shows going through there, but it wasn't as much of a community that I felt.
Yeah,
But I was also an outsider. You have to live there for a couple more
for
years than
sure.
just two.
Takes a while to tap in. Yeah.
But when I first started in Halifax, it was very, very good too. There was a lot of shows and a lot of people all trying to work together. And from what I see, it still pretty much goes on in Halifax. There's a lot of shows always happen there, and a lot of different artists now. The only difference from now to back then in the mid to late '90s was that a lot of hip hop acts would play shows with a lot of rock acts all the time, and
Okay.
wasn't even a thing. You know what I mean? Like there'd be rock and hip hop all together all the time.
I know
I remember
exactly.
we used to play shows with country music and the musicians, and it didn't matter because the people that were coming liked at least either one of them, and if you hated what one was, you just left.
Out here on the prairies in Alberta, I can relate, man. I've rapped to a lot of punk rock bands, audiences once they're off stage and that type of thing. But yeah.
100%. There was when I was in Vancouver, the Drunken Arseholes, me and C, that group was the first group to ever play at I can't remember what the big giant punk rock venue is there. That's right on Main Street downtown in Vancouver. But we were the first rap act ever to be asked to play there, which was cool. And C was so drunk that someone threw a whole beer on or pitcher of beer on him from the crowd, and he loved it, and he wanted to take his pants off because he had big long camo pants on. So he went behind the speaker and took his pants off and forgot he wasn't wearing underwear, and was basically mooning the whole artist showing the whole audience.
Man,
they were all screaming.
But it was
and
love though.
Like,
the audience,
oh, shit,
the audience was on your guys' side.
Today. Yeah.
Yeah. I always found there was a lot of crossover between, punk rock and the right type of hip hop. And I could see the Drunken Arseholes making some music that would, have that crossover appeal with that crowd for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It was fun times.
Dude, there's so much that goes into being a DJ, dude. Like, you're obviously used to doing live gigs like on stage. As well as you produce, you can do scratches. Do you have a favorite kind of part of DJing? Because a lot of the time, like people just think of a DJ and they think of the guy with the set of turntables, doing the fresh scratch or whatever. But like, for that matter, like, do you play instruments? Do you ever play stuff that you sample yourself, or like how deep into the production end of that do you go?
Well, I like to buy instruments, but I don't really know how to play any of them. Like I just bought a xylophone for no reason.
Okay.
But I plan everything that I buy, I try and screw with it a little bit and at least sample something from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so xylophone should be easy to get something out of, man. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Just have a hard drum beat and start fucking with it and record it, right?
Hell yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I like to do shit like that, or buy weird instruments like thumb pianos and fucking. I got one of those instruments that the beat for Tried by 12, that song.
Yeah, yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. That shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I have that instrument too.
What is
I
that,
don't
like
even know
a
what it's
sitar
called.
or something? Like a
it's like
guitar that's like on its back almost.
It's like a harp that's on like a big piece of wood.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wild, man. Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
Have you sampled that on anything yet?
No, it's a smaller version, so it doesn't have that creepy note. That first note. It's like a smaller version of it. Whatever. It's still cool, but
so
I thrift a lot, so I buy whatever the fuck I need.
Word, man. You make so many beats, dude. Like you talked about getting home and trying to put in some time making music at all. And that's another thing I tell artists, like, you know, if anybody wants tips, like, is do it every day. Because that's going to sharpen the sword to a point where you're going to get more comfortable doing it. And I don't know. I read a book that talked about how, like, the difference between a professional and an amateur artist is the professional makes themselves do that art every day, whereas an amateur waits for inspiration. And the book kind of talked about how, like, if you're waiting for inspiration, you know, it's going to be a long road, and there's going to be a lot of hit or miss to it.
Well, what if it never comes though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Then you just wasted your whole life waiting for something.
Yeah, man. So I think that's a real gem. And I do want to ask you too, just like, do you have any tips in general that you would give to, you know, new guy might watch this, he makes beats in his basement and kind of, you know, wishes more people would rap on them? Because I think you have kind of nailed that formula. I don't know what it was, whether it's being out shaking all the hands or like just making yourself available online and putting those beats out there for people to buy from, or what. But how should that producer go about getting out to people?
Like you said, you just got to plug it out. Keep making the shit every day. Somebody's gonna get at you at some point and want to rap over your shit. So try and make something, and then, like you said, getting out there comes from that. Doing shows, you need some type of material in the first place to do a show.
Right.
So you got to get some type of vocalist, see whether it be singing or rap or whatever the hell it is.
Right.
Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I think that was the road that I took anyway. I right away found people that I were like-minded with in what the type of music we liked. So we wanted to make the same type of shit.
Nice, man. Have you ever done...
just grew from there.
Have you ever done like a radio gig? Have you ever had a radio show or you know, done mixes like that?
Yeah, I had a radio show when I lived in Toronto on CKLN, Ryerson Radio. It was at 2 a.m. until 5 a.m. It was called Lord Knows What.
Okay, dope.
It was me and Tom from High End Solo Records, Kotapo, Megatron, Stubbs, the rest of the Extraterrestrial dudes, all just pretty much going crazy the whole time. It was pretty fun. Right on, we got fired a couple times, and they keep on bringing us back.
I mean, the beauty of kind of volunteer college radio or whatever is that, like, especially now, you know, I don't worry too much about it. I try to stay within the, you know, don't swear on air or whatever boundaries that they tell me, but ultimately a lot of the time I'm playing some music that somebody probably could make a complaint about if they wanted to complain about people saying fuck the police or whatever. And you know, I do entire episodes devoted to some things that could probably get me kicked off the air sometimes. So shouts to college radio and community radio in general. And you know, ultimately though, now it's like you can take it online even if they do decide not to air it. Hopefully people would go find the stuff to listen to online. But one way or the other, dude, I think that shows like that through the years have been so important. Like, you know, 10 years ago I was listening to a show called Hip Hop Buffet that was weekly in Edmonton, and you know, that got me tapped into just the Edmonton scene a lot more, because they weren't playing exclusively you know, independent artists. They would mix it in with stuff, but even just kind of getting some names, it was always a good place to start. And so, you know, when I was offered this show at CKXU here at the University of Lethbridge, it was like, I mean, I might as well. I know so many artists whose music I could play. And at that point, I thought I'd end up playing a bunch of American stuff. But like, dude, there's so much music that comes out that if you pay attention and follow the right people on their socials and watch when their music comes out or whatever, there's no shortage of that music to play. So like, now, you know, I never play the same thing twice, and every week it's pretty much all Canadian unless I like choose to throw in some American thing that, you know, caught my ear or whatever. But for the most part,
Yep.
I assume if people want to listen to, you know, the legends, they know how to find them or whatever. So
Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, just try to push it to new people or whatever, man. But like I said, I think it's all about the community push to do that. So I appreciate you coming by and talking and everything, man. I you know, could probably keep asking you questions or whatever, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. I
It's
guess
all good, man.
you know, I will ask a little bit more because I know you do have like a recording set up yourself. Like your bio was talking about how you run a studio as well.
Yep.
Okay, so that I always ask people about their ideal recording experience and their ideal kind of creation experience. So like, do you like having MCs around as you're making a beat for the song that they're gonna write to?
Yeah.
Do you like being alone by yourself for 4 hours to make a beat and then give it to MCs, or what's ideal?
It's changed now since I bought a house in a town where there's hardly any MCs. But when I lived in Vancouver, Toronto, or Halifax,
Right.
when there was 10 MCs around me all the time, then they would all just come over and write all the time, and I'd be making a beat.
Yeah.
And somebody just say that's mine, and then the other guys say no, that's mine, and then they fucking battle it out themselves between who it was, or if they're both going to be on it, or
Man,
but
you hear about that
I like that
birthed so many
that
legendary
vibe
albums
because everybody was happy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
like whether
it was just
know,
all
whether it's the dungeon in Atlanta or whatever, D&D in New York, or 36 Chambers or whatever. I think that kind of like group vibe where people are coming and going and just always kind of pitching in to keep constant art flowing can be tons of inspiration. So I like that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Dude, do you how hard do you push to promote your music? Do you ever well, here, I guess the question is like, what's the main drive for you to create music? Because I find some guys really actively are trying to, like, you know, blow up, trying to like do that, and I don't feel like that's likely your drive at this point. So
No.
How would you tell it, man?
I just do it pretty much to stay sane, make beats, and if anybody wants to, like anybody of my friends, like they come over and I play them all the newest beats I made. If they want them, they take them. That's pretty much it these days. And then all the other ones I put up for sale. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, you don't want this beat? And they're like, no. I'm like, that's the fucking best one, I think, dude. So that one goes up for sale and somebody else gets it. It's, oh well. Right.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I got a new beat page now too. I made a new Bandcamp last week, so that's all new shit that nobody else has heard yet.
Okay, so you've got a Bandcamp where people can go to listen to beats and they're for sale there? Okay.
Yeah.
Because before it was on SoundCloud you had, right? That was where I think I found those beats. But
and then I had SoundClick, but then SoundClick took down, like, I had like 80 beats on there and they took them all down for some reason and put them all back up. It took like days.
Have you looked at like BeatStars? A lot of producers tell me that they have BeatStars or whatever set up. Is that?
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to sell my beats for $4.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah. So
that's a lot of those types of ones from the States. You're leasing your beat over and over for $5 to a million people, right? That's what you're trying.
That's fine.
I'd rather one guy made a song and then I take it down and I don't sell it to nobody else.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. How engaged are you with social media? Like, are you how do you feel about social media? I think it's very polarizing for artists. Some artists love it and really love that they can connect with, you know, the fan base or with other artists through social media. Me, myself, you know, I don't have any gripes with social media. To me, it's like, if I need to, I'll turn that shit off, you know, if I'm trying to have dinner or whatever. But yeah, different artists feel different. Where do you stand on that?
I feel the same as you. I think it's a good thing. I mean, a lot of people get sucked down the rabbit hole of negativity and those things, but I just try, if I start seeing stuff like that, I just get rid of it. I'm not going deep into it. I'm using it to talk to my friends and family and just try to sell the music that I love that I made.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Personally, I spew thoughts too, but I agree with you on the if anybody wants to argue with me, it's like, nah, I don't really owe you that argument. I'm just gonna go on my merry way and continue spewing my thoughts into the abyss. Thanks.
Yeah, I use some bullshit like once a day, and then when I get up in the morning, if someone starts to argue with me, I just delete the whole thing.
Yeah, not worth it. Yeah,
no.
Don't argue with fools because people from a distance can't tell who's who and shit, right? But
that's the truth.
Hell yeah, man. So where can people find you on Instagram? Your Big Moves or Big Moves One or something?
Big Moves One at Instagram. And Facebook is Brian Higgins. It's my government name that my mother gave me. And Bandcamp, the Beats page is DJ Moves Beats for Sale. All exactly how it sounds.
DJ Moves Beats for Sale. Okay, I'll edit this and pop that up on screen there.
Cool, thank you. And the all the albums and stuff is bigmoveslpfc.bandcamp.com.
Right on.
LP is low pressure fried chicken.
Okay, sounds good. And shouts to Black Buffalo. You said you can also get Pam Greers Kids over there.
Anything on Black Buffalo is still up there for sale.
Hey, if you're in Black Buffalo's ears, I got DK to tell Kevin who I was. I think it's Kevin. Apologies if it's not, but yeah, tell them that they should put me on their DJ list because I love supporting y'all, but I'm also broke trying to do a volunteer radio show, you know. So
you will for sure.
Right on. Yeah, dude. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming through. It's nice to be able to talk. I hope we get a chance to meet in person someday, or just talk online again.
I hope I get out there someday. Shit, it would suck if I didn't.
Yeah, man. Let me know, and vice versa. If I touch down on the East Coast, I'll get in your ear, and hopefully we can catch up for a beer or something.
100%.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. This was fun.
Thanks. Peace.
All right. So thanks, everybody. That was that for the interview. These things happen Tuesday afternoons, twitch.tv/Doobyis. And I'm going to stick around. I think I'll probably end this stream just for the sake of having it saved as its own video. And then I'm going to jump back on and work on a new episode of After the Smoke is Clear, which will be up for Thursday. That'll be episode 20. And let me just take a look at the schedule to know something. That one is going to be featuring an interview with the Dirty Sample. So, yeah, come hang out if you want to. I'll be back on here in, I don't know, half hour. I'm probably going to have a smoke, have some food. Ooh, shit, maybe I won't have a smoke. It is pouring outside, it looks like. Now you can actually see rain coming down in the camera. But yeah, peace, everybody. This was fun. Once again, shouts to DJ Moves. Go support him.